Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. I'm Kate.
And I'm Stephanie.
And together with you, we're three heads. Newsflash, there's a lot of pressure on teachers.
What?
Society puts a massive amount of pressure on teachers. Parents, pressure on teachers. Administrators, pressure on teachers. And if you're teachers like us, that pressure is nothing compared to the pressure you are putting on yourself on a daily, hourly, minutely basis. On the podcast this week, we talked about being real, about what you can and can't do in the classroom so that you remember you cannot undo everything that has been done before you, nor can you work miracles in the 50-some minutes you have with a child for 180-some days. But on the podcast, on the channel today, we wanted to talk about high-stakes exams. Now, whether this is something that your state rolls out every spring, as many states so often do, whether you're an AP teacher and it's the AP exam, or whether your district or school site has come up with some fun examination that they are going to tie your self-worth to, we are talking about what you can and cannot control in high-stakes exam situations, so that when you get those results, you are a neutral party and don't feel so personally invested in them. So let's go ahead and get started.
All right. Well, and this is an important topic. I know for me, I'm a very results-driven person, and it's rough to get results back saying, that so many of your students didn't meet the certain level. And so I think it's been really important for me to learn to detach what I can do and what I have no control over when it comes to this testing.
I think also, I know for myself that I always felt like I am working my hardest. I can't work any harder. And I'm still not getting the results that I want. And we talked about in our leaving the classroom that for me, that was a part of it. That was why I needed to step away. When I was an honest with myself person. When I knew that there was something that I could have done better, I was like, okay, well, we're going to fix that. You won't make that mistake again. You're going to do this now. But when I got to the point where it was like, I have no more hours in the day to put into this, I have racked my brain and come at this situation from the entire 360 degrees, and I still can't figure it out. That's when for me it was like, okay, I need to step away. But before I got to the, okay, I need to step away, I divorced myself, and I did this fairly early on. I did it quite a bit before Stephanie did.
And then she helped me.
Where I took the pressure off myself by saying, I do my best. I am not responsible for their successes nor for their failures. I do what I can in the time that I have these students, because we teach high school. We are not seeing the types of gains that take place in elementary school. Think about it this way if you're a high school teacher. In elementary school, there are some grades where at the beginning of your school year, a student can't read. But at the end of the school year, a student can read. What happened was part you and part just biology. Their brain developed to the point where they could understand those words. We don't have those same kind of significant shifts in high school. And if you talk to any assessment researcher, they will tell you in high school, it doesn't work that way. Your gains are teeny tiny in high school. And so we're expecting, and I think society and Hollywood and social media tells us and shows us these major changes that really are not going to happen unless you have this perfect chemistry of a group of people who want to change and a teacher who's willing to pour their entire selfhood into facilitating that change. It's just not going to happen. So how do we get realistic about this? How do we figure out how to separate our feelings about what we're doing and able to accomplish in the classroom and what society wants to hold us to account for?
Yeah. And I think just kind of listening to Kate talk about that, I think it's so important that you learn what the test is meant for and what it is not meant for. I think that there was a particular test that when the kind of state testing went away for a few years, our district adopted to have some sort of assessment, and it was billed in a way that was not appropriate for high school just because of what Kate's saying about the smaller gains. And so I think it was really helpful for us to learn from the test makers, oh, well, there's no way you would get good results at this grade level for this reason, or at least not the kind of results we were led to believe we needed to see. Well, we like to get practical here on YouTube. So what is it that we can do, right? And what we can do is we can offer them resources. We can offer instruction that covers what they need to know for the test. We can give them opportunities to practice and feedback on those practices. And part of that, I think, is familiarizing yourself with the test, especially if it's something like we used to have sophomores taking the California high school exit exam. By the time we were done, we could write a Casey. Like we were so familiar with the test questions. And I've been tutoring SAT grammar classes this summer, and I've taken so many practice tests that it's like very automatic now when you're taking them to almost be like, oh, I know what they're going for when the question looks like this. And so when you do that, you know what it is students need to know in order to do well on the test, and you can make sure that you have given them the opportunity to learn that.
Yeah. I think that lots of times as teachers, we have a tendency to say, I'm not going to teach to the test, or I'm not going to make that the focus of my class. And you're a little bit doing your students a disservice if that's what they're being held accountable for. So for us, when we had the high school exit exam, that was their high school graduation. And so we owed it to them to prepare them for that exam. Now, that doesn't mean that you just sit there and take practice tests over and over and over again. What that does mean is that you reframe your instruction so that whatever it is you're doing is preparing them to be successful on that exam. So it's not teaching to the test, it's teaching them to have the strategies that they need in order to be successful on it.
Yeah, and that really is all that's in your control. The actual results of that test are not in your control, as hard as it may be to look at that. And I think it was easier for me to grasp that when they didn't do well, that was not my responsibility because I had tried my best. And so I've given you all the opportunities, so clearly you didn't take advantage of them all year. Like I wash my hands. But it was helpful then to remember, or as Kate reminded me, well, if we can't take and what we would often say, or what Kate would often say is, I can't undo 13 years worth of problems in 1 year. And then you have to accept the flip side of that as well, that when they're successful, probably they were going to do that well when I had them. Maybe I helped them get a few more points, maybe I helped, and certainly I hope they took something from the class, but their performance on that exact test is probably not because I'm such an amazing teacher, much as I would like to believe it is.
Right. And that's sort of, we're English teachers, and we are not a subject that you learn in a year. We are a subject that you refine year after year after year. And you can't get somebody to be successful in a year. You can't undo what's been done in a year. So when a student, for example, on the AP exam, when a student gets a 5 on the AP exam, I didn't do that. They were headed in that direction, and I just helped continue to move them along. So what I did didn't hinder them.
We hope. And that is in your control. If you're hindering them, that is something to
But what you did just helped to move them along. And that when you do that, when you are not patting yourself on the back for the number of 3, 4s, 5s your students get on an AP exam, then when your students get 2s or 1s on the AP exam, that's not something to beat yourself up over.
Right.
Again, look at what you did. Is there something that you could do better? But don't whip yourself, but also don't be the person who's like, I did that. That's me. No, that student did that and you helped them along.
Yeah, and I think this has been fresh in my mind this summer. I've again been tutoring SAT grammar, and I had to remind myself of this because they take pre-tests every week, and I've been tracking them, and I want to see them go up. But it was interesting. I was just literally thinking of this yesterday. I asked the students, oh, well, why do you think you did worse this time? Like, was there a pattern? Is there something you don't know? And one kid's like, oh, I got 2 hours of sleep. Oh, I wasn't in the mood, so I didn't try very hard. Oh, I just got my wisdom teeth pulled out that morning. Okay, well, obviously you're not going to do your best when your wisdom teeth are pulled out that morning, and I have no control over that. I could have been the best grammar teacher in the world and changed this kid's life, and it's that's still going to be outside of my control. And so it was just a really vivid reminder of how little control we have over the results.
Absolutely. Do we have anything else to say, Stephanie?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think we have staked our
claim
on our
made our opinion clear.
As always, answers may vary, and you may have an opinion that is completely opposed to what we have said. If you do, please let us know in the comments down below. How do you handle your students' successes and failures on high-stakes exams? Does it weigh heavily on you? Does it buoy you up, or is it just another day? Let us know in the comments down below. We'll talk to you soon. Bye!